Let's be honest, if you are a good photographer or you think you're a good photographer and you're not getting booked, don't blame the algorithm. I would probably say it's you. And before you get defensive about me, I'm going to tell you I've made these mistakes and I'm going to talk to you about probably around the 10 most common social media mistakes I've seen from photographers. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Khandie. I'm a photographer. I've just spoken at the photo and video show on this matter. I did one-to-ones. I did all sorts with people about social media. And I have a social media analytical background. So I'm going to talk to you very honestly about why it's not the algorithm and you, because if we fix it, it will save you money, make you money, and you'll have less grey hairs, apparently. I don't know if that's true. But let's go. Mistake 1, you're posting for photographers. Now, if you are here to mentor photographers and work with photographers, that makes sense to work for them, right? To post with them in mind. But if you are not and you're looking for clients, this is a huge mistake I see people making all the time. I see you posting your lighting setups, your gear settings, all sorts of things. Clients don't care. Clients don't care. They couldn't care less. Your client is sat there going, that's all cool, but will I feel awkward in front of the camera? How are they going to make me feel? When do I get my images? They don't care about your settings. So why are you posting with photographers in mind? I see this so much. And I'm like, huh? Why? You're trying to attract clients, not other photographers. Now, it's a bit different if your clients are photographers. That would make sense. But for most of you, you're probably not, right? Clients care how you make them feel. Warm and fuzzy, safe and respected, understood. Mistake number 2, treating your feed like it's a portfolio. Right. Sorry, my voice is going. I say this a lot on my Loud Lens podcast. Your feed is not your portfolio. Your website is. You should not be treating it as such. It's posting polished images with zero context. What does that say to your client? Do they get it? Do they understand? What you're negating is the experience a client would have if they were working with you. The transformation and the why it's good to work with you. All of those things. If all you're doing is posting pretty pictures and no real context to those pictures, you're doing yourself a huge disservice and making clients not get that warm, fuzzy, I'm seen vibe from you. So they're not going to want to book in with you. No one books a photo shoot because it's a nice picture. They book because the photo resonates something with them, or it solves a problem for them, or it makes them feel something. So think about that when you're posting next time. Mistake number 3, no one knows what you do. No clear message. No one knows what you do. So often I'll go on a profile and they'll say, hey, I'm not getting any bookings, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, well, that's probably because if I land on your page, I don't know who you are, where you're located and what you do. That little space on social media, the description, that is prime for SEO. So why am I having to hunt around to find out where you're located or what it is you do? Because if I scroll through your photos, it should tell me, but I also want to be led to it immediately. Okay. So really put it in that description, really hone it in. Don't sit there and think, oh, but they should know by looking at my photos. It doesn't work like that. This came up quite a lot in my one-to-ones at the photo and video show. A lot of people overcomplicated that little descriptor. And I'm like, it's all very well and good when you're up there in the upper echelons and people are booking you left, right and centre. But right now, people just want to, hey, like for me, based in Northampton, do portraits, weddings and branding or something like that, right? They know straight away. They aren't having to hunt. It's there. I don't think it's great to be, it's aspirational to want to put things like image capturer, time pauser, memory maker. I'm trying to think of all the others. But you're starting out, you haven't got that credibility just yet, or you aren't getting the bookings. So why don't we use all the space we can to get those bookings, okay? Mistake number 4, there's no call to action. And I know you're like, what does that mean? You're posting, but there's nothing for the client, potential client, to do with that picture. You're not asking them anything. You're not suggesting they do something. You're just posting. There's no purpose for the post other than this is a great picture, which you can do sometimes. But it's very important to have a call to action, okay? People need leading. And before you go, oh, I don't want to be too salesy. You're a business. Treat it as a business. Now, you don't have to do it every time, but certainly have a reason why you're booking it. If you're showing off headshots, say, just so you know, I'm running headshots in a few weeks. DM me so I can send you to the exclusive mailing list so you can get first dibs on them. Start talking about these things. Have a call to action, a purpose for why you're posting it. And if it is just a case of, come on, guys, do you think this picture is great? Comment, tell me you think it's great because I'm in doubt or something. Then just admit that, okay? But that's still a form of traction. Have it for a purpose. Don't just post and then go, okay, I'm done. Why is no one booking? Because you're not telling them. They want to be led. Tell them to book you. Literally come out and say it, book me. I've done that a few times and it has worked. Don't do it all the time, but I do it a few times and it has worked. Mistake 5, inconsistency. This is pure self-sabotage. I don't know how else to do it. I'm not asking you to post every single day, but posting sporadically, not having consistent pattern, not having consistent editing style, not having a consistent look or a tone of voice, you're going to confuse your client, confuse them with what you do. Like if I started photographing babies and putting all babies up, people are going to think that I photograph babies all the time. It's very rare I do that, and if it's for a friend, I'll do it. But I'm not putting it on many of my portfolios, on much of my feed, okay? In fact, I send most of my maternity clients to somebody else in the area because that's what they specialize in. I don't do that. For me, I want my clients to know exactly what they get from me. So everything from my logo to how I talk online to how I present in the studio follows a pattern. The photographers you get booked are the ones that the client trusts because they see them often enough. It used to be 7 points of contact before you'd make a sale. Now it's something like 21. So just think you need to be visible a lot. It doesn't mean you have to burn yourself out by doing loads and loads and loads of stuff, but think about scheduling things, interacting. Instead of just doom scrolling, get involved, be consistent in where you stand and with your messages, okay? Mistake number 6. Can I do that? Mistake number 6. I'm going to have to run out of fingers. I can't hold this. I could just put this on something. I know that annoys a lot of you, but I kind of like having it held. Mistake number 6 is you make it all about yourself, which is, it's my business, it's all about me. But what you do is you alienate your client. Your client wants to be seen, heard, and understood. If you just make it all about yourself, they're not going to get it. I talk about my clients. I talk about how great they are. I share a little story if they're happy for me to share it. I want people to understand that I work with all sorts of people, and I want them to have that warm, fuzzy feeling knowing that they are going to be 100% comfortable in my studio. If your content is, I'm obsessed with this, I want to try this, I want to do this, cute, but it's telling the client that you're not thinking about them. Okay, you're not trying to get them. It's all very well and good, do it every now and then, but you actually have to be proactive in talking directly to your client and identifying their needs, their wants, and their desires. Too often, we're running around thinking, oh my God, I want to try this. I want to do this. Can anyone do this with me? That's nice every now and then, but also it's very self-serving, and it means to the client that perhaps you're not going to listen to them or do what they want. I'm trying to think of something I could clip this onto. I know, 1 second. I've clipped it onto Sean Tucker's book that he signed for me at the photo and video show. Mistake number 8. Sorry, I've got to take that off. Sorry, Sean. I don't want to damage the book. It's a really good book, by the way. Ignoring your local market. This is something I see very often. Please don't necessarily cut off the entire of UK if you're based in UK to work with. But remember, your local town, your local area is rife with people looking for photographers. So why are we trying to tag all these brands that cover the whole world? Why are we not tagging local brands, local venues? Why are we not looking at the local newspaper and tagging them? Why are we trying to extend beyond our town? Like, people will travel to you once they get to know your reputation, but right now in your town, you should be looking at those. In fact, I think I wrote about this in my book, No One Effing Cares About Your Photography. I swear I did. But you need to, as a brand, to understand that don't cut off your immediate area. Don't think you're too good for it. Get involved with them, right? If you shoot a location locally, tag the business that you were in. Go and do that. Instead, I see people like tagging, I do it myself, tagging Adobe in the vain hope Adobe might spot them. That's great. But what about the pub that you've just photographed in the beer garden of? I'm sure they'd appreciate and share it, and then they've got all their punters. You know what I mean? Like, there is like organic, natural growth within your area if you know how to tap into it. Mistake number 9, I'm not bothered putting fingers on now, is relying on social media and thinking that's how you get all your clients. And it's cliche to say, if social media went, and we remember the uproar when we thought TikTok was going to go, this came up again in my one-on-ones at the photo and video show. I was talking about Google, I was talking about SEO, I was talking about blogging, your own websites, word of mouth, newsletters, emails. And a lot of people are like, I don't do that. You have to be proactive in your own marketing. You have to get involved. You have to do more than what you think. Don't just assume that social media is how you're going to get your bookings. I have a newsletter that goes out once a month. I talk on many of my platforms, but I also have a website that I talk, and I work hard on the SEO. SEO doesn't have to be hard to work on. I just know that over time I've been very proactive in what kind of blogs, what keywords I use, so that I come higher and higher up. I have never paid to have my website boosted. I've never had a professional go in and do the SEO. I've done it all myself. For me, I always go, how would people find me if they were searching for me? Because they're not going to put my name in. They might look at Northampton photographer, fashion photographer Northampton. So those are the things when I'm typing, I make sure I'm including in that blog post in the couple of paragraphs, or I'm putting it in the tags or something like that. So for me, Don't rely so much on social media. And I know it's really weird because it's 10 mistakes on social media, but I think that's one of the biggest things we do. And I've seen people whose Instagram has been hacked and it's been lost, and God forbid, touch wood, it never happens, but it does happen. And then they all go mad and like, I've lost all this business. Yes, potentially, but you should also have other means to communicate with your clients. Okay. And the way I get my newsletter, I'm going to let you know now, is that I use Studio Ninja. There is a discount code in the description below where I use them and they sign up to my newsletter, and then I can import their details and send them a newsletter once a month. You can't solicit people without their permission. Is that the right term? You can't market to them without their permission here in the United Kingdom if they're a member of the European state. So you have to get permission, and that's what I do. You might hear my voices going. This is the leftover from the photo and video show. Your girl worked hard. Mistake 10, and I think this is something that this is where imposter syndrome comes in, okay? Not positioning yourself as an expert. Okay, I'm not saying you need to say you know everything, but you should at least have that level of authority above your client who doesn't know everything. When they go, oh, I'm worried about wrinkles, don't worry about your wrinkles, you're beautiful. But if you're really concerned, you will be lit in a way that they don't get enhanced or looked at to intensity or something like that. Words to that effect, right? Speak with authority, speak clearly and with full understanding, even if you're just blagging it. And don't be afraid to share knowledge. I know this sounds really weird. I do this quite often. Why are you so scared to share knowledge? I've just done a reel where I was talking about how to make a spotlight effect on a picture if you don't have a snoot, and people are like, oh, and my mate was like, why would you do that? They're going to know because you do it. Yeah, so what? It's something new under the sun, and it just shows you that I know stuff. I quite enjoy those little videos that I teach. I'm very clunky with it. I'm very direct and blunt. I don't do all the fancy editing. I just show you, and people love it. And one thing that resonated with me when people coming up to me in the photo show was just how easy it was to talk to me, which was like, oh my God, thank you very much. But also just like, I am what I am, and they could ask me any questions. They know that I will answer to the best of my ability or signpost them to people that do. Someone was asking me about street photography. So I was like, it's my hobby. I'm not the most, but I tell you what, I went on a class with Sean Tucker, who I absolutely love, and Shayla, who I embarrassed myself in front of at the photo video show because I was like, oh my God, it's you. So sorry, Alan. So sorry. He's an incredible human being. So both of those, I just signposted them to them. People asked me about birds and wildlife. Because they'd seen that I'd done that one in Estonia, and I was like, listen, that was the first time I've ever done it. Go check out my friend Phil. Directed them to Wildlife Dreams. I don't sit there and pretend I know everything, but I certainly signpost people to where they might get more information. Also, there is this YouTube channel, so if you are interested, please like and subscribe. That would be great. Listen to my podcast. That's another great one. However, I think we're not positioning ourselves enough as experts, okay? Our client comes to us for a portrait session. They want you to be confident in your knowledge of what you're doing, okay? So if they say to you, I've not had a headshot done, I feel a bit uncomfortable, that's okay. People come all the time. I remember, in fact, doing a headshot session with a client who said, my son really struggles to look at the camera. Is there any way we can work around it? And because the other photographer said, I'm not really sure. Well, my camera has eyeball tracking. I just said to the mum, bring him in. And all I said to him, he was only young, and I said to him, it was for what's he doing? He's going into dance class. He needed a headshot. That was it. I said to him, will you just look at my camera and just tell me if the lens open and closes? I showed him what it did. I said, and he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm going to look away because I sometimes think it's me triggering it. So if I do it, will you look? He looked straight in that lens. I had the eyeball tracking on. It focused on his eye. It clicked. He went, yeah, it worked. I went, does it work when you smile? He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, he's only young. I said, does it work when you smile? He's like, I don't know. I said, well, show us a smile. And I clicked and he went, oh my God, it does work. You fixed my camera. This little lad was beaming. His mum was so excited because finally she got a picture of him looking at the camera. And these little works around. She said, how do you just know? I said, because I know. I work with kids like this. I work with adults like this. And I spend a lot of time learning. And the mum recommended me to loads of people. So there you go. Also use that tip. That might help you. Nothing comes from talking small about yourself. Like, don't be apologetic. If you want people to spend their hard-earned money with you, they need to know they can trust you. And so if you're apologetic in your language, if you're not setting yourself up to be the expert, you're kind of making them feel like perhaps they're putting their money in not a great place. So really big yourself up without being egotistical. It's a fine balance. But yeah, don't be so hard on yourself. Like, there's nothing wrong with bigging yourself up. Most photographers do not need to improve their work. Okay, what they need to improve is their marketing and how they manage themselves online. I see it so much in my one-to-ones, the demos, the seminars I give when I'm out on my travels, my emails, even answering questions on my podcast and my YouTube channel. I see it. We're all struggling. So I hope these help you. And if you haven't already considered to like and subscribe, now is a great time, and offer your own tips below. Often people repeat the same patterns and the same mistakes and then wonder why something doesn't happen. For me, you've got to keep trying new things. And I hope that these have helped you, because they helped me. And I know that I've just done some videos a bit more in depth on social media, so maybe they will help you. So look back at my previous videos from this. But as ever, don't forget to like, subscribe. I've already said that loads, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye. I put this on this mic to purely annoy everybody who goes mad at me for hand holding this. This is also a sticker of my friend Novelty Star. She's a very famous drag queen and performer.